Okay, welcome everyone. We'll be learning halacha on Shabbos in the laws of still the laws of grinding on Shabbos. So food substance that it's not gidulei karka, that it's not growing, it's not coming from the ground, and they can be eaten as is. For example, cooked meat did not grow. It's not something that it's not a vegetable, and it's not growing in the ground. Hot dogs, cheese, eggs, and the like. There is no prohibition of grinding when it comes to these foods, because it's not usually the custom to grind, even though there's such thing as ground meat, but we're talking about cooked meat. You don't grind something that's already cooked. So you're allowed to cut, if you have a piece of meat, you're allowed to cut it with a knife on Shabbos, small pieces, crush it with the fork. Similarly, things that were already crushed before, like bread crumbs, matzah, biscuits, you're allowed to cut it into small pieces because it's not considered grinding. So there's a rule, there's no tchina after tchina. There's no grinding after grinding. Once it was already grinded, and you grind it a little bit more, that there's no problem of grinding on Shabbos. But nevertheless, any type of any of these foods, the meat, the cheese, the eggs, and the like, you should not grind them with a grinder or any other utensil that is designated for grinding. Why? Because if you're using a designated utensil, something that it's like a specialized utensil, let's say for grinding or for cutting it very thin, it's an act that is being done during the week, and therefore you should not do that. So, summarizing this halacha, food that does not grow in karka, on earth, in the land, and they can be eaten as is, like cooked meat, cheese, eggs, and the like. There's no problem of grinding because it's not the custom to do it. You're allowed to do it with a knife or with a fork, or something that was already crushed before, was already grinded before, like bread and biscuits, matzah, things like that. You're allowed to grind it again. There's no such a thing as grinding after grinding. And the last point is that you should, even something that you're allowed to grind, you should not use it. You should not do it with a specialized instrument or utensil. Rather, you should use knife or fork, things that they have multi-use, things that can be used for many different things. So you're allowed to grind something very fine, very thin, if it's something that did not grow and did not come from the ground. So we'll discuss further tomorrow, next day, God willing, preparing egg salads, for example, because we just said you're allowed to grind eggs on Shabbos. We'll discuss how to do it and how you're not allowed to do it. We'll continue, God willing, later. So the next video will be Tanya class.